Hey, it's Aloha Falava. Leatawa Dr. John Peterson here with TE2 Edge Sports Cards. I'm coming at you live and direct from Minneapolis, Minnesota. It is early Sunday morning, November 6th. Thought I'd do a quick video here and share with you a couple things I recently picked up. Also talk about yesterday's card show, and then do a quick little update on the hobby. Hope everybody's doing well out there. The Houston Astros are World Series champs. That's pretty exciting. They've had some really good teams here over the last 5-6 years. They won in 2017 under the black cloud of the cheating scandal, the stealing signs scandal. But I love Dusty Baker, and say what you want, Jose Altuve as a gamer. He's one of the greater playoff players of all time. And it was a fun series. You know, the Phillies had a great run. They won, 87 games in the regular season. So to get as far as they did, I think is hats off to the Phillies team, their manager and players, and for sure their fans. So yeah, it was a fun World Series. Enjoyed watching the playoff games, the run up to the series, and congratulations to the Houston Astros on their second World Series in 5 years, 6 years. So that's cool. Everything's going good in the world of NBA, except if your name is Kyrie Irving. I'm not going to go into a long explication on that whole situation, but yeah, he can't buy a break. He just can't keep his drama outside of the public sphere. I mean, it's really unfortunate because he's a hell of a player. I just love the way he plays. He's a scorer, he's a passer, he's a shooter, he's a driver. I think he's a phenomenal player, but he just can't keep away from the drama. It's almost like a light and a moth to a flame sort of type of situation. So it's too bad. So yeah, Bucks are doing great. Made a little bit of a Giannis investment recently. Picked up some 2013 Hoops boxes. Nothing huge. I mean, Giannis's stuff is so expensive, so hard to find, and so expensive. But the 2013 Hoops boxes, I got 2 of those. And they could have some decent Giannis Hoops cards in them, rookie cards. So we'll see what happens with that. Recently picked up a 57 Topps Clemente, which I'll do a reveal on here when it arrives. Actually, that might be one of the boxes that showed up today. I doubt it, but it's possible. Other than that, had a great time at the card show, the Twin Cities Sports Cards and Collectibles show out in Bloomington at the Valley West Mall. Got a chance to see a lot of cool people. Some return buyers. Always love chopping it up with people at those shows. I mean, this was the best show of the 3, for sure. We had a different table spot. Felt real comfortable with our backs against the wall. Weren't kind of out in the middle of the floor, and had a side spot. And boy, we just had a really good time. Had a lot of fun. There was only one a-hole that showed up. He was a PSA fanboy and was talking smack about CSG, and he ended up walking away, and he wanted to see some cards, and I'm like, dude, just get going. You're not going to buy anything here anyway. So, but other than that, it was fantastic. Made a nice sale at the beginning of the show, actually before the show started, with another dealer. Sold a 56 PSA 6 Clemente, and then sold a 56 SGC Eddie Matthews that was in an SGC 5 holder. So I thought that was good. And then sold and traded. I traded for let's see here. Let me just show you. Let's see if I can find this here. I picked up a couple of new cards. I got a good friend named Phil who's a dealer. Used to do tables at the shows. Recently had hip surgery, so hasn't been able to do any shows, but he does visit my table every time we have a show or do a show, and we ended up doing a trade for this John Morant and this Tatum Silver Prism rookie card, which I thought was pretty cool. He had $350 on it, and I've got this on Card Ladder, most recent sale at $450. So I got this for $350, and I got this for $65. I think this is closer to $40 or $50. So a little investment deal. Traded some Traded on a 1960 Topps Warren Spahn on a CSG slab, and an 85 Puckett Donruss, and 1989 Topps traded Ken Griffey Jr. That was a gem mint 10. I mean, so he got some good cards. But I think these cards have the chance to move a little bit more over the next few years, of course, because Tatum and Morant are still playing in the league. So I was excited about that. Ended up clearing about $2,000, I think was what I ended up grossing. And then, of course, I had to pay Richard, my buddy Richard. I pay him a couple $100 for helping me out, and then $50 for the table. So came in right around 1,700, which I think is pretty good for a single day show. I feel real fortunate and blessed. It was also my birthday yesterday, so I had a little good vibes going on my side. So it was fun. Had a lot of fun. I'm gonna try and do this show in December, and there's also a show that's gonna be in Oakdale that I'd like to try and hit up and do for a couple days over the holidays as well. So anyway, thought I'd mention that the show went really well, and really grateful for the folks that stopped by and talked, and for the folks that ended up buying a few things. Much respect and one love. I wanted to reference this article here. This is an older article. It is one that probably a fair amount of people did not read. I can tell you that it's an important article as it pertains to the hobby. It goes back to July 1st, 2021. The title of it is Blackstone Tactical Opportunities to Acquire the Certified Collectibles Group, a leading provider of tech-enabled authentication, grading, and conservation services for the global collectibles industry. So Blackstone is on the New York Stock Exchange, and it's an investment company. They do equity, they do real estate, they do a bunch of different stuff. They had purchased CCG, Certified Collectibles Group, back in July of 2021 for $500 million. CCG this is something a lot of people don't know. CCG is the leading global provider of expert, impartial, and tech-enabled services that add value and liquidity to collectibles. Founded in 1987, CCG offers authentication, grading, and conservation services that have unlocked billions of dollars in secondary market value. Today, CCG sits at the forefront of the fastest growing global collectibles industry, with offices on 3 continents, robust digital offerings, and comprehensive certification services for collectibles. All right, so the thing that people don't understand about CCG, they think CSG is a standalone thing. CSG is not a standalone. CSG's parent company is CCG, and CCG has been certifying collectibles longer than PSA has. All right, so that's one of the things that people need to understand, is that CSG is not just by itself in isolation. They're part of a parent company that has multiple brother companies, not sister brother companies, but sub companies that deal with collectibles and coins and comics, as well as sports cards. So that's one thing I want to mention. Blackstone, a little over a year and a half ago, or about a year and a half ago, they purchased CCG, of which CSG is a part of, right, as a sub-under company. It says here, it goes on to say that Blackstone's one of the world's leading investment firms, with nearly $650 billion in assets under management and a strong track record of creating value and positive impact for companies it acquires and the communities that they serve. They're looking forward to working with CCG's leadership team. Over the last 35 years, CCG has expanded from collectible coins to comic books, banknotes, magazines, concert posters, stamps, trading cards, sports cards, and estate items. CCG has certified more than 62 million of these collectibles, with a combined fair market value of approaching $50 billion. Okay, so this is important information because Blackstone now owns CCG and has owned CCG for about a year and a half. Blackstone is also connected to and owns Fanatics, or is in partnership with Fanatics. And they do that through Michael Rubin, who is connected both to Blackstone and owns Fanatics. So Let's just see if there's a piece here on Fanatics. Yeah, it says right here, additional investors in today's transaction include Roc Nation, Michael Rubin, founder and executive chairman of Fanatics, SC Holdings, a growth equity platform, Mastery, founded by Rudy Klein Thomas, Andre Iguodala, Jay-Z from Roc Nation, Daryl Morey, president of basketball operations for the 76ers, and Main Street Advisors. So what I'm trying to paint a picture for folks is, especially for the people that are like, CSG is no good, and CSG is a waste of money, and why would you put those cards in CSG slabs? And first and foremost, buy the card, not the slab. I say that at every show. Buy the card, not the slab. If you don't like the slab, if I don't like this slab, I'll just cross it over and put it in a CSG slab or a PSA slab. That's not a problem at all. Now, am I guaranteed of getting a gem mint grade? No, I'm not. But when I send it in, I can say grade at current grade or higher, and if not, send it back. Do I have to pay for the fee? Yeah, you got to pay for the fee. But if it's that important to get this in a different holder, shoot, just cross it over with grade at the same grade or higher. So that's not a hard thing. I don't know why people get so hung up on that. Secondly, we all know that Fanatics in a couple years is going to own the rights to doing all of the publishing and all the printing for Major League Baseball, the NBA, and the NFL. All right? Topps isn't going to own it. Panini's not going to own it. No one's going to own it other than Fanatics. So Fanatics is going to be in control of printing the sports cards. And they're going to re-overhaul, according to Michael Rubin, they're going to do an overhaul of the whole system because they want to have cards in the hands of kids. That's really what it comes down to. They want to grow the hobby. They want to have cards available at stadiums, at your local gas stations, at your local supermarkets. They want to have cards be like the way they used to be back in the 1970s and the 1980s, where you could get them and they weren't ridiculously expensive. Okay, so right now, the cost of these boxes, like a box of Panini Prism for the current basketball is like $900, $1,000. What kid can afford that? Makes no sense. So Michael Rubin, I believe, is going to be changing that. And he's going to be changing the relationship in terms of how direct the relationship the relationship is between the company that prints the cards and the end user, which is usually the collector, the hobbyist, and not necessarily the shop owner, and not necessarily the intermediary distributor, right? We all know that those distributors are out there. So all that being said, Michael Rubin, I'm going to say this again, is the founder and executive chairman of Fanatics. He is one of the investors in the buyout of CCG by Blackstone. I'm going to say this again. Michael Rubin is the founder and executive chairman of Fanatics. He is one of the primary investors, or was one of the primary investors, in the buyout of CCG by Blackstone on July 1st, or in July of 2021. CCG has been around since 1987. They've been around longer than PSA. They've got more money than PSA. They've got more breadth than PSA. They're on 3 different continents in terms of their certification process. Okay? Fanatics is going to own the printing and publishing rights to MLB, NBA, and NFL by, what is it, 2025? Well, so it's going to be 2023 in like a month. So in less than 2 years, Fanatics is going to be in charge of all the printing of all the sports cards. Panini is going to be gone. They were going to buy Panini, but that deal fell apart for a reason. So if Panini doesn't have published, they're not going to be able to print those cards anymore. Basketball and football and baseball. They're going to be gone, right? Topps will be around because Fanatics bought Topps. So CSG is a part of CCG. CCG is now owned by Blackstone. One of the main investors in Blackstone is and was Michael Rubin, who owns Fanatics. eBay is using CSG as their primary authenticator. Why? Because their authentication process is tops in the business. They've been doing it since 1987, CCG has. Even though CSG hasn't been around that long, CCG as an authenticator has been around for 35 years. So I don't know what is so complicated for people to understand about the role that CSG is going to continue to play and CCG is going to continue to play, along with Fanatics and along with Blackstone, which is a well-financed organization. Blackstone's one of the world's leading investment firms with nearly $650 billion in assets. That's way more than Collector's Universe. It's not even close. The financial backing of Blackstone compared to PSA, or CSG compared to PSA or SGC, is ridiculous. It's not even in the same galaxy. SGC is not on a good financial footing. So if you're investing heavily in SGC cards, be aware that their financial stability is not the greatest. In fact, if I had to bet, CCG will end up buying out, Blackstone will end up buying out SGC. And SGC will become a part of CSG. You might keep the SGC label, might keep the SGC holder, but they're going to become, I believe in the next 2 years, a part of CSG and a part of CCG Holdings. So I'm not anti-PSA. See, I have a PSA card right here. I have a bunch of PSA cards. But the blind devotion to PSA, ignoring the facts, is stupidity. Now, I got into it with the guy at the show yesterday because he started talking smack about CSG. Why would you put these in the CSG holders, and on and on and on. And I gave him an education, and he walked away miffed. He actually said F you when he walked away. I don't care. Whatever, man. Do what you got to do. It's not my fault you're ignorant. Know what's going on in the hobby. Know what's going on in the hobby. Things are going to shift in the next couple years in a big, big way. And you can still get in on the CSG train, right, before it's too late. PSA is going to be around for a long time, but are they always going to maintain the king spot? I don't believe so. I don't believe so. Yes, they are grading 1 million cards a month right now, but you are only going to see CSG continue to, CSG and CGC, the comic book grading portion of the, or not the comic book grading portion, but the, I think it's the non-sports card arm of CCG, continue to grow. So I've got some of my long-term cards, some of my holds, like this 56 mantle in a CSG slab. I'm not in a hurry to sell it. If I can sell it at the price point that I put it at, great. That's great. You know, make a little profit off of what I invested in it. Sure. I don't mind selling a card that's in a CSG slab now. I just sold a 1954 Topps Eddie Matthews for $325 in a CSG slab yesterday. That's a $325 to $350 card. PSA 7. Or PSA 7. And it was in a CSG 7. So people want to know, like, do you downgrade or downprice your, underprice your CSG? No, absolutely not. I price my CSG slabs on par with PSA slabs. So if a PSA slab of this card says it's worth 50 bucks and I cross it over into a CSG slab, I'm listing it for 50 bucks. And if I sell it for 50 bucks, great. If I don't, fine. That's great too. Because CSG is going to be up and coming, rising in the next couple of years. PSA is not authenticating eBay purchases over $500. CSG is. Well, of course they are, because they're the most consistent grader out there. CSG is the most consistent and reliable grader out there. I think that SGC is the toughest grader. They're also very consistent, but I think CSG is the most reliable, consistent grader out there. They actually look at the cards more than 30 seconds, unlike PSA. When PSA has so many cards they grade that they're looking at the cards for, what, 20 to 30 seconds? Well, how do you grade a card like a vintage card in 20 to 30 seconds? It's ridiculous. PSA's reliability is horrible right now. You know it, I know it, and everyone knows it. And I'm not a PSA fanboy, but I'm also not going to deny the fact that their grading has become wildly inconsistent. That's a fact. You just talk to anybody in the vintage world and they'll tell you if they've had recent submissions for vintage, even for modern cards. Some of this stuff is getting like 6s, they're cracking them, resubbing them, and getting 9s or 7s to 10s with PSA. Well, go figure. They only look at the cards for 20 to 30 seconds. No, I'd rather go with CSG. They actually break it down and look at every aspect of the card. So I'm kind of on my soapbox today, but that guy, the one guy yesterday that had negative vibes, kind of has me fired up this morning. So I'm a learner. I'm a student. Yes, I've got a doctorate degree and a master's degree. I don't brag about it. And I know that I got that because I study. I do my research. I do my reading. I ask questions. I'm curious about things. I find out information. And then I make my own decision. CSG slabs are not going anywhere. Plus, they're the best slabs in the business anyway. This is a superior slab to this. There's no question in my mind. This is clearer, it's got a little more heft, and the security on the back is better than PSA's. Yeah, they both have QR codes, but this piece is different. So all I'm saying is give CSG a chance. Now, if you have everything in your collection invested into PSA, I do not expect you to shift over to CSG. No, that's not going to happen because you've got a ton of time, experience, and resource invested into PSA. But don't come to my table and talk smack about CSG just because you've got everything invested in PSA. Of course you're going to want to stick with PSA. What do you think, I'm stupid? Give me a break. But I don't have that much invested into PSA. I have some, right? I've diversified my portfolio. I've got some in PSA. I've got most in CSG. I've got a tiny bit in SGC. And now I've got my very first BGS slab. All right, so that's good. That's cool by me. I don't knock PSA, but I don't know why people got to knock CSG. The reason why they knock CSG because they're afraid. They know that this article, Blackstone, Fanatics, Michael Rubin, CCG, rights to the publishing and the printing with the NBA, the NFLPA, NFL, and MLB. They know that CSG is coming up, and it scares them. It scares them because they've got all of their eggs in one basket. Well, I'm not like that. I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket. Only a fool does that. So anyway, you can agree, disagree. I could really give a rat's behind. But I know what I know based on what I read and what I study. All right. So CSG for me is a good, longer term play. Now, if you're looking to flip cards right away, like tomorrow, and you put them in a CSG slab, well, you're not smart. You're not smart at all. Of course you don't want to do that. If you want to sell a card tomorrow, you put it in a PSA slab. That's just common sense. If you don't know that, I don't know what to tell you. Right? So if I wanted to move this card, I'd put it in a PSA slab. I'd cross it over. It'll still probably move in a BGS slab, but BGS, they're talking about changing their holders. Right? So I don't know. Sometimes people just really, I don't understand. Maybe they don't do their research. I don't know. I'm not going to talk about it anymore today. Other than watch out for CSG. They're coming. They have the best acrylic in the business. They have the most reliable grading. They've got the longest track record with CCG. They've also got the highest financial backing. By far. Collectors Universe can't touch Blackstone. Sorry, not happening. So anyway, doing a little reveal here. See what we got. Oh, okay. So I picked these up recently. These are from Sport Card Auctions. Check out these bad boys. So I picked up some BVG slabs. I had bid on about 10 different slabs and ended up with 3. So here's one that I got. So this isn't a BVG slab. This is an 8. I haven't looked at this real closely because it's the first time I'm touching it and having it in my hand. So I'll cross this over. And I'll cross it over to, you guessed it, CSG. That's a great card. Oh my gosh. Pride of the National League. Willie Mays and Stan Musial. To my knowledge, it's the only card of the two of them together. So this is at the end of Stan Musial's career, probably his last year, and then Mays, of course, was in year, 12 or 13 of his career. Still had another 10 years left to play. Yeah, I thought that was a beautiful card in an 8. Picked this up for a couple $100. It was less than $200. How's the back look? Yeah, back looks pretty good. So hard to get centering on these 63 Topps cards. So then I picked up this Whitey Ford. I used to have this in a CSG slab. Get that out of the shadow a little bit. Yeah, I think this is a nice card too. Turned out good. 7.5. Put that in a CSG slab. And then this card, which I had never seen before, Spawn in a 7.5. It's a nice copy of this. Other than that upper right corner, this card looks bomb. Yeah, so looking forward to getting these 3 in CSG slabs. CSG, oh no, are you gonna be able to sell it? Yeah, I'll be able to sell them. Trust me, people like the cards, they'll buy them. You buy the card, not the slab. You buy the card, not the slab. I'm gonna say that 1,000,000 times. Buy the card, not the slab. If you don't like the slab, you can crack it and resubmit it, or you can cross it over. Arbitrage it. All right, so there. I said my piece with that. Let's take a look and see what's in here now. I really have no idea. If it's what I think it might be, could be big. Could be huge, as they say. What's this? What's this say? This is Champion Sports Cards and Collectibles, Hobbies Leader in High Grade and High Value Cards and Collectibles, Justin Levine. Oh, this is what I think it is. Wow, this came fast. This came really fast. Oh my gosh, I bought this for my birthday, so I'm super excited about this. See what's in there? Look at that bad boy. Oh my goodness. A 57 Clemente and an SGC 7.5. That's the nicest copy of this card I've ever seen. Now, I used to have this in a 6. I traded for it about 10 years ago. I traded a 54, I think maybe a 54 Jackie Robinson for it. It was a bigger deal that I did, but I ended up selling that 6 and was hoping to upgrade, and now I've upgraded. So this is maybe a PC card. I might price this PC. So basically what I'm saying is, if I do end up pricing it, which I will, because I price all my stuff and put it on my slabs, I'll put it at a little higher price, at a premium price, just because I'm not super interested in selling it. I'm not going to keep it in an SGC slab. Yes, you guessed it. I'm crossing it over into a CSG slab. So I can't wait to get this into a CSG holder. It's going to look freaking awesome with the colors, the yellow and the black. Look at the way this looks with the yellow and the black. This is Pittsburgh Steelers, Pittsburgh Pirates, basically the same colors. It's going to look awesome. So yeah. Got this card, picked it up this week. Looks real solid. Corners look pretty solid. I think the centering is maybe the best centering of any 57 card I've ever owned or seen. It's better than my Mantle for sure. Not by a ton, but by a little bit, top to bottom. Yeah, beautiful card. So anyway, those are my recent pickups. I appreciate you listening and listening to me go on my little mini diatribe, my little soapbox about CSG versus PSA and Blackstone and all that sort of stuff. If you're interested, you can find that article at businesswire.com. Search for Blackstone Tactical Opportunities to Acquire the Certified Collectibles Group. And Business Wire is a part of Berkshire Hathaway Company, which is owned by, well, I think everybody knows who owns Berkshire Hathaway. And if you don't, I don't know what to tell you. Have a blessed day. Have a blessed Sunday. Peace out. One love.